All right, so day 3 talks about notation, evaluation, and composition of functions. So first of all, let's talk about notation. If I have f of x equals 3x plus 1, this f of x is really the same thing as saying y. It's just saying it in a different way. And it's basically telling you that what's following it is a function. So if I asked you, is this a function? You don't even really have to say, well, this is a linear equation, so yes, it's a function. You know it's a function just because I used f of x. And this here is your input value. So it's basically saying, what is the function for any particular given x? And you read this as f of x. That's how you read that. So if I were to evaluate a function, if I had f of x equals negative 3x plus 2, and I said, evaluate this function at f of 4. Well, all that is saying, take 4, which remember is your x value, and plug it into the function for x, and then simplify it. So I would basically say negative 3 times 4 plus 2. So all I'm doing is instead of putting x, I'm putting 4. Well, if I evaluate this, this would be negative 12 plus 2. So this would be negative 10. So f of 4 would equal negative 10. Now, when you have this, you could have f of x, you could have g of x, you could have q of x, right? It doesn't really matter what letter you put in front here. It could really be anything. And so this would just tell you that these are different functions. So in the example, it says, given the functions f of x equals 4x plus 3 and g of x equals 3x minus 1, find an input value that'll give you the same output. So they're saying, find a value of x that will make these two equal. So all you have to do is say, all right, well, 4x plus 3 has to equal 3x minus 1, and then you would just solve this equation. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And over here, I'll have left x plus 3. And on this side, I'll have negative 1. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. And I'll have x equals negative 4. So this tells me when x equals negative 4, these two functions will be exactly the same. Well, you can check that by plugging it in. So if I plug negative 4 into f of x, I'm running out of room here, I'll get 4 times negative 4 plus 3. That would be negative 16 plus 3. That would give me negative 13. Let me put it in for g of x. I'm going to have to do it up here because I'm running out of room. G of x, 3 times negative 4 minus 1. This would be negative 12 minus 1, which is negative 13. So you can see I found if x equals negative 4, then these two functions will be the same. So if you have any questions, let me know.